Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's meeting of the Public Service Commission. Before we begin, I'll ask everyone to please bow your heads for a moment of silent reflection. Amen. Thank you. Okay, before we begin, we'll call the roll for the commissioners. If you will just answer. Commissioner Belser.
Present.
Commissioner Howard.
Present.
Commissioner Irvin.
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Okay. Commissioner Whitfield.
Here.
Okay. Commissioner Williams is in Iraq, and I am here. I think from just then, Commissioner Howard and Commissioner Hamilton, we had a hard time hearing both of you, so just make sure you get close to when you've got to speak. Okay, Mr. Midges.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. For our first item of business, staff proposes next Wednesday, July 29th, for our next business meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
First item on our utilities agenda, docket number 2006-159C. We have the third amendment to an interconnection agreement.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the third amendment to the interconnection agreement between Frontier Communications of the Carolinas, LLC, and Comcast Phone of South Carolina, Incorporated. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Belser.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
And I vote aye. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 2, docket number 2020-146C. We have a request for approval of transfer of assets.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belser.
I have some discussion of the background of this docket. In this docket, Windstream KDL LLC, Business Telecom LLC, Unity Group Finance Incorporated, and Unity National LLC have requested approval to transfer certain fiber optic assets. The transaction is part of a larger settlement agreement between Windstream Holdings Inc. Incorporated and Unity Group Incorporated. In 2019, Windstream Holdings and its subsidiaries filed voluntary petitions for reorganization under Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. In April 2020, the Windstream companies and Unity Group and their relevant subsidiaries agreed to enter into a series of agreements intended to settle all disputes between Windstream and Unity. One of the agreements was an asset purchase agreement. That settlement agreement, including the agreement and transaction addressed in the application, including the agreement and the transaction addressed, in the application before this commission, was approved by the bankruptcy court on May 12, 2020. The applicants advised that the transfer of assets does not include any assets owned or controlled by Windstream's incumbent local exchange carrier subsidiaries and will have no effect on the nature, quality, quantity, or price offered in South Carolina by any Windstream subsidiary, including both its incumbent and competitive carrier operations. Unity Group Finance will acquire certain assets from Windstream's competitive local exchange carrier subsidiaries, including Windstream competitive local exchange carriers in South Carolina. Windstream will sell roughly 3,966 fiber route miles nationwide to Unity Group Finance and, pursuant to a partial assignment of the agreement, to Unity National. Unity will grant to Windstream subsidiaries an indefeasible right of use, having an initial term of 20 years for those fiber assets that Windstream's subsidiaries use to provide services, along with additional fibers to provide Windstream subsidiaries with spare capacity. Windstream subsidiaries will retain access to those fiber assets currently used in South Carolina to provide services to customers, plus additional fibers to provide Windstream subsidiaries with that spare capacity. The transaction will be transparent to Windstream's customers. It is important to note that the consummation of the transaction is necessary for the debtors to exit Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. I therefore move that the Commission approve the transaction and transfer of assets as described in the application. Thank you.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belser's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Howard?
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin?
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield?
Aye.
Commissioner Belser?
I vote aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 3, docket number 2014-346-WS. We have a motion for clarification and a request to hold the remaining procedural dates in abeyance.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard?
off the regulatory staff moves this commission for an order of clarification and to hold the remaining procedural due dates in abeyance pending this commission's order. The commission is familiar with the long history of this case, but the focus of this motion by ORS is whether the previous contested $542,978 in rate case invoices from the Fusky Islands Utility Company have been paid. South Carolina Code annotated 58.4.50 directs ORS to inspect, audit, and examine public utilities and make appropriate recommendations to the Commission regarding matters within the jurisdiction of this Commission when in public interest. ORS states that the filings with regard to the rate case invoices in question are unclear as to whether the company's rate case invoices have been paid, and accordingly moved for clarification as to whether the Commission seeks to have ORS continuous investigation, review, or to cease to conduct any further reviews of utilities. ORS also notes that the present compressed timeline in this case imposes a burden upon the participating parties to be able to draft remaining testimony for pre-filing unless the Commission issues a clarification order. Utility states that no such order needs to be issued and such is unnecessary. Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the motion for clarification and request that ORS continuous investigatory review of the matters of the rate case invoices, further holding all remaining procedural dates, including the pre-filing and hearing dates in abeyance until further orders of the Commission. Also move that the Commission request that ORS report its findings to the investigatory review back to the Commission within 30 days after the date of the receipt of this directive, or unless finished in lesser time. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Belser?
I am recused from docket 2014-346-WS. Therefore, I will not be participating in the discussion or vote on this matter or on item number 4. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll let the record note that Commissioner Belser is recused on this item and on the next item that we'll have coming before us. Any other questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Irvin?
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield?
Aye.
Commissioner Howard?
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 4, docket number 2014-346-WS. The Office of Regulatory Staff is requesting that Fusky Island Utility Company provide additional notice to its customers.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard?
the Office of Regulatory Staff states that the Fusky Island Utility Company, Incorporated, should afford its customers additional notice with regard to the proposed rate in the present case, which ORS asserts exceeds the rate included in the company's application and previously noticed to the utilities customers. ORS notes that both the Commission statutes and due process require additional notice. ORS states the company's customers have not received notice of the presently proposed rates and therefore is at a significant disadvantage without the notice. The company denies the need for such a notice under the circumstances of the case. South Carolina Code in annotated 58-5-240B states that notice to the public may be ordered such as the Commission may prescribe. Mr. Chairman, I move we grant the ORS request and order the company to give notice to its customers of the proposed rate in the present case. The Commission's clerk office shall issue a notice letter to the company requiring such notice. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. We'll entertain any questions or comments and restate that Commissioner Belser is recused from this particular docket. Questions or comments, Commissioners? If not, Commissioner Urban.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 5, docket number 2024G. This matter concerns the annual review of purchase gas adjustment and gas purchasing policies with my natural gas.
Well, I gotta say aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
I move that we find that Piedmont's gas purchasing policies and practices during the review period were reasonable and prudent, and that the company properly adhered to the gas cost recovery provisions of this gas tariff and the Commission orders. The company managed its hedging program in a reasonable and prudent manner consistent with Commission orders. The end of period balances for Piedmont's hedging account and deferred gas cost account are reflected in the testimony and evidence presented at the hearing. Therefore, I move that we adopt generally the joint proposed order filed by the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff and Piedmont Natural Gas Company Incorporated. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Belser.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Urban.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, item number 6, docket 2020-157E. Duke Energy Progress seeks permission to relocate 4 230 kV lines at the H.B. Robinson Steam Plant.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton. And Commissioner Hamilton, you're going to need to get closer to your phone because we can just barely hear you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Duke Energy Progress
Hang on one second. We're going to make sure you've got your speakers muted.
Yes, sir. Okay. Can you hear me now, Mr. Chairman?
Just barely. Hang on one second. We're working on something technically real quick, Commissioner Hamilton, and we will make sure we can get you heard properly. We apologize for the dead time for anybody out there watching, but I'd tell a joke or sing a song, but I don't think we should do that either. So.
You want me to pass the motion on to somebody else?
We can hear you now.
We have a technician present. Somebody else turn this on.
Okay, since we have a little technical problem, I'm going to pass the chair to Commissioner Belzer, and I'll make this motion.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Randall for a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Belzer. For everyone, the Duke Energy Progress has filed a request for expedited review of a like facility determination for the relocation of 4 230 kV transmission lines. The company asserts that the entire scope of work for the relocation of the lines will take place on a DEP-owned property and will not require any additional rights or easements from third-party property owners. However, as I look at Exhibit A, it appears that the new tree line would affect properties located on the exhibit lots 13 and lot 14. And I'd request that the company clarify whether any third-party property owners will have trees removed or their property otherwise affected by the proposed line relocation. If there are any third-party property owners affected, even by the proposed new tree line, I would ask the company to clarify whether those property owners have been approached or notified of the proposed change to the tree line on their property. I would request that these clarifications be filed by the company within 7 days. And I'll make that as a motion, Commissioner Belzer. So moved.
Thank you, Chairman Randall. Are there any questions or any discussion on the motion? We'll proceed to a vote. Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton. Can y'all hear me? We'll come back. Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Randall.
Aye.
Commissioner Howard, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Hamilton, can you hear us? I'm looking at Hamilton's box. Commissioner Hamilton, can you hear us? How do you vote, please?
Aye.
Thank you, and I vote aye. The vote is 6-0, and the motion passes. Mr. Chairman, I will turn the gavel back over to you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We'll turn it back over to Mr. Minges. Cut your microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 7, docket 2020-158E. Power purchase agreement has been filed along with a request for confidential treatment.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer.
I move that the Commission accept for filing the power purchase agreement between Duke Energy Progress, LLC and Whitetail Holdings, LLC, and grant the request for confidential treatment of certain portions of the agreement. The utility maintains that the redacted information contained in the agreement is commercially sensitive and proprietary.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, that completes the utilities agenda. Turning to our transportation agenda. Item number 1, docket 2020-139T. We have an application for a Class E household goods certificate.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the application of FCF Moving and Storage LLC, doing business as Good Greek Moving and Storage for Class E household goods. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Whitfield.
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Howard.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
And I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 2, Mr. Chairman, docket number 2019-334T. We have a request for an extension of time.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the request for James H. McBride III, doing business as Ace Transportation, for an additional extension of time until September 30th, 2020, to comply with commission rules and regulations.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Hamilton,
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Howard,
Aye.
Commissioner Belzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitfield,
Aye.
and I vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Chairman, that completes today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Minges. Is there anything else that needs to come before us this morning? If not, thank you all for attending, and thank you everybody for working on the technical problems, and we are adjourned.